Hello, everyone. My name is Billy Bicket. I am the program lead for this project, Accelerating Makers at TechSoup. And today's discussion is aimed on this idea of a town hall. It's a first town hall discussion with the community. We basically want to do two things. One, we want to introduce a set of features, program features that we've been building over the winter that we're ready to introduce to the community sometime very soon. And we want to get some initial thoughts or feedback on those program features. And then part two is about a more open ended conversation. We acknowledge that many of you may have questions about your projects. Many of you may have questions about which resources TechSoup has that we may be able to provide in this program. And we want to hear from you firsthand what those needs are, or those issues are, or those questions are, and try and answer them as best we can. So it's an open space to be in conversation together. We're going to have Joel, my counterpart. Joel's been a user experience consultant and critical contributor to this project over the last 6 months. And he's going to be walking us through some of the new features that we'll be introducing shortly. But before we do that, I want to ask those of you who are here to please share your names, where you're coming in from, where you're calling in from, what city or town are you coming in from, what project you're working on. If you have the name of a project, that's great. And bonus points if you're able to share where your project is in terms of its development cycle. Are you just starting? You're in the ideation phase. You're learning about DWeb for civil society. That's cool. Please name that. If you're in the design phase and already prototyping or sketching out, configuring your DApp, that would be great to know. And if you're already building dApps and on your way with that, we want to know that you're in already in the development phase. Thanks in advance for sharing where you are. Thomas is here from upstate New York, already at the mid design phase with his project, which is great. Welcome. Barb from Ionut. Ionut is the project from Romania, not yet a project. Barb's interested in better understanding the context and see what opportunities are on offer. That's great. If anyone else has 2 cents they'd like to share about where they're coming in from or what their needs are, what they hope to get out of this call, please jump in and share that in the chat. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Joel, who's going to share an update about these program features at Accelerating Makers. So with that, Joel, thanks for stepping up to present what we're up to.
Absolutely. Thanks, Billy. Great to see everyone, meet you. Love seeing the diversity of interests and places that people are joining from. It's really cool. Yeah, thanks. So we've got several different programs that we've been developing over the last couple of months, and we wanted to open it up to introduce you to those different program elements and see how we can better help you in moving forward in your understanding of DWeb technology, in your storytelling of your technology or project, and ultimately in supporting you to launch and integrate the programs that you're developing. So the big new program that we're talking about today is Maker Studio Sessions. And this is a really interesting kind of new phase for what we're doing with Accelerating Makers, where in a lot of our recent content and information, it's been around presentation and delivery, and there's been some interaction and participation. But in 2024 here, we really want to bring people together and bring them into a live creative space where we can explore ideas together and develop our projects and understanding. And this whole project here is supported by an award from the Filecoin Foundation for the Decentralized Web. We just wanted to say thank you and make you guys aware of how this is all possible. So yeah, what are Maker Studio Sessions? Like I said, live creative spaces to foster connections between DWeb, civil society, and funders. We want to bring together the people in our community to help support and drive new conversations, new ideas, new connections, potentially collaborations, and yeah, see how we can all move forward together in our DWeb projects. And so the big fundamental piece of this new program are the mentor sessions. And so these mentor sessions are one-on-one discussions that are designed to take you from the work that you've been tinkering with, the ideas that you've been exploring these ideas of decentralized web. Maybe you have some thoughts about how it could potentially help support your mission in your organization or just in your mission as a maker in the world and what you want to build. And so these one-on-one sessions are designed to help you better understand, outline, and articulate the project that you're working on and be able to better tell a story. Because when we have these better stories and better communication tools, we're able to get people on board with our project, whether it's collaborators, whether it's colleagues, board members, potential funders, or looking at using these pieces for funding proposals, grant proposals. This is what mentor sessions are here for, is how do we get you to that next phase? And whether you're an independent maker, excuse me, working on a new DApp, working on a new program, DAO technology to create some sort of new impact in the world, or whether you're within a nonprofit or a civil society organization and you're exploring this idea of bringing in and integrating new DWeb technologies, this program can help you get to the next level. And it's really broken into this two-part framework that we've outlined through this program. And the first part is our worksheets. So we've designed these worksheets to be fairly short, but also be able to tease out some of the pieces that are in your head into a concrete format that we can all kind of work on together, whether it's you just working on by yourself or with a colleague or with the mentor in these mentor sessions. But we really think that this is a great way to get those ideas into a concrete format so that we can edit, we can refine, we can work on, we can challenge those ideas together. And so we've prepared these worksheets that are available on the Accelerating Makers website, and we can download those. And that's part one of this studio session model. And then part two is the mentor call. So the worksheet is how we organize some of that initial information, see where you're at, and also to be able to give that information to the mentors and use that in your calls to discuss the projects that you're working on and be able to have, yeah, more fruitful conversations. And so the mentor sessions are 60-minute calls with a DWeb mentor. And these are DWeb professionals who have done it before. They're developers, they're entrepreneurs, they're project managers, founders, chief technology officers. These people have created projects, they've created messaging and stories for projects, they've created proposals potentially, or looked at communicating with funders. And so we wanted to give you access to DWeb professionals and people that can help you to refine your project and refine your story, refine your communications, and potentially also give you new opportunities to collaborate, find resources, find connections, and that sort of thing. Okay, so within this program, we've developed it into two different streams. So the first one is we're calling Studio One is define your DWeb use case. And so the use case is where we look at more of the mechanics of your project. What is the technology? What is the implementation method? The what and the how is the key elements to this DWeb use case. We actually developed recently, I don't know if some of you saw through our newsletter or through Quad, if you're involved in our online community platform, that we developed a new use case database. And I can actually open that up just to give you a little bit of context. The use cases are different examples of how DWeb technology is used out in the world, and this isn't exhaustive. It's not everything. We're continuing to refine and iterate and add to this database. So if you have other ideas, we'd love to hear them and how we can make this database more robust. But just for example, in supply chain traceability, we're looking at blockchain technology to make that a more robust supply chain traceability system. And you can click through this database, open it up. There's a lot of information in here, background on how DWeb technology is used in this scenario. And then it also gives you examples too. So in this one, we've got about 5 examples that are linked here. And again, you can click through, browse through. We got summaries and links to different things within this database. I'd encourage you to look through that, and it might inform you a little bit on how you can explore these different ways to use DWeb technology in your organization or in your development. So that can be found on the Accelerating Makers websites under the resources tab there as well. So going back to Maker Studio sessions. So that was Studio 1 is looking at the use case. So that's more the what and the how. And then Studio 2 is where we get into more of the story. So crafting your DWeb impact story. And this phase is really important on the connection piece, on the emotion piece. We're looking at the who and the why of the project that we're building. Because when we talk about just the mechanics, we have the potential of losing a lot of the interest of colleagues, funders, board members, etc., if we don't really articulate how it's going to make a difference in the world. And that's what the DWeb impact story stream is about, is how do we tease out and pull out those story elements? We talk about who we're trying to serve. What are the problems that they're facing? Why is DWeb technology going to be able to help solve this problem? And so for each of these streams, we have a separate worksheet. You can fill out those worksheets as your own exercise. And then those worksheets can be used in your mentor sessions and be able to refine your thinking and, yeah, just challenge some of those assumptions and thoughts that you've been working on. So the mentor sessions are really simple. We try and keep them straightforward. We know you'll be meeting someone new in that session, so there might be some tendencies to talk about your background and who you are and what you're working on. We'll keep those introductions fairly light so we can get into the meat of things. And then it's really an open discussion. And the worksheets are designed to be a tool in these sessions to help work through some of those conversations, different elements of your project or the story that you're developing for your project. But if you find it's really going in a very organic way, you're talking about some other sort of collaboration or technology or new resources that are available that could help you, we want to make space for those open discussions. And then obviously just wrapping up and outlining the next steps. There is potential to join these sessions more than once if you're looking to do that. We wanna use these as a working model for you, right? We don't assume that you're gonna have the perfect story after you've done one of these worksheets or done one session. So if you do want further help, feel free to register again, go through another session. You can go through the first stream and then the second stream, or if you wanna do the story one a couple times, that is totally okay, encouraged, because we want to be here for you as the Accelerating Makers team and as the mentors that have signed on to support you in that process. So how do you enroll? So first, you can download the worksheet from the Accelerating Makers webpage. I'll take you through that a little bit. And then once you've worked on that worksheet, you can take it back. You can work on it with a colleague. You can, yeah, just fill it out. In most cases, shouldn't take you more than an hour. You can take that worksheet, go back to the Accelerating Makers website, and there's a registration button there to click, and you'll fill out a short form with a couple of fields in there on who you are, your project, what stage it is, what you're looking to, which stream you want to be involved in, and then you can upload your worksheet in there as well. Then it's really simple. We'll just take a quick look, make sure that all the information is there on the worksheet, and we'll send you a link to schedule time for your session. And then you'll get to go into the studio sessions. The timing of the studio sessions, we're for now, most of our times are on Mondays. We're calling them Maker Mondays. We're actually doing a lot of stuff on Mondays. If you've checked out our recent newsletters, we'll be dropping some new resources and tools for you. And then all of these mentor sessions through Maker Studios is going to happen on Mondays as well. So I will walk you through just quickly. And yeah, feel free if you've got questions, throw them into the chat. We'll make some time at the end to go through any questions that might come up. So the registration process, if you're on the Accelerating Makers website, you can click this button to explore sessions or scroll down and you'll find a bit more information on the two different sessions, one on the use cases and then one on the impact story. You can click to download the worksheet from here and it'll open in just a standard document, a Word document as such. And like I said, it's fairly simple. Should probably take you less than 60 minutes. But if you want to spend more time refining, or if you're a little bit earlier on in your thinking in your project, it might take you a little bit more time. Basic contact information, describe the organization's mission. So this is just overall, not specifically related to DWeb. If your organization or nonprofit has a mission that you're headed towards, and then what use case you're interested in exploring. So just at a high level, These are the ones that are listed in our use case database. There's a link here to go back to that database if you want to browse them. Or if there's something else that you think of, right? Like I said, this isn't an exhaustive list. There's lots of ways we can use DWeb technology to support public good. And if there's something else, feel free to put other, add your other kind of description in there. And then, yeah, these are the questions. It's more about the, like I said, the how and the what of your project. How do you think decentralized technology might support your mission? How might you describe it to a non technical audience? So, is there a way we could use a metaphor or something like that to simplify some of the technical to a non technical audience? What specific benefits are you looking to receive from using that DWeb technology? Maybe it's around privacy, maybe it's around sustainability or data control. Are there examples of other organizations implementing this use case? Explain the current system that's not being replaced. And then, yeah, three or four other questions. That's the end of it. Once you've filled out that worksheet, you can go back to the website. There's a register button here for registering for the studio sessions. Pretty simple form. Again, just basic contact information. A couple of questions about where you're at in your project, and then an opportunity to upload that worksheet for it. And then, like I said, we'll review the worksheet. We'll send you links to schedule your session. And then, yeah, we look forward to having the conversations with you. And in some cases, Billy or myself on the team or someone from the team will be able to pop into one of those studio sessions to say hi, see how things are going, and then yeah, be able to hear what you're working on, what you're learning, what you're exploring, and see if there are any other ways that we can fill in the gaps that are holding you back from potentially moving your DWeb project forward. So feel free to put your hand up if you've got any questions, throw them in the chat if that's more your style. I'd love to hear what you guys think. If this is something that sounds yeah, it sounds useful, it sounds viable, easy. Does it sound hard? Is there yeah, anything missing that would hold you back from taking advantage of an opportunity like this? Anything else, Billy, that we should cover here as people are putting their questions in?
No, I think you covered it. I think we should go into participant questions head on. Yeah, all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, Deb, thank you. So Eli, actually, if you wouldn't mind, absolutely. I will put a link here in the chat to the Accelerating Makers website that has the download links in it for the worksheets. We'd love for you to get started today. If you can download those worksheets, you can work on it on your own time. If it takes you a few days to find the time to work on it, that's okay. And if you get it done today and you want to register today, that would be fantastic as well. The yeah, just scroll down on that Accelerating Makers webpage, find which session you're interested in, and that download button is there. We'd love your feedback and to be able to get started as soon as you can.
Awesome. I've got another question here coming in from Thomas who says, is there a cost involved at some point in this? And what might that be? Like, what's your hidden agenda here, Joel?
Exactly. But no, there's no cost involved. We're really thrilled, grateful to our award from the Filecoin Foundation for the decentralized web that makes this project possible. It makes it, yeah, free to participate throughout the process. So we're here to support you and whatever you need.
I'll add just one detail about timeline because it's implied
Mhm.
uh, in some of these questions. We are rolling this out as of now, and our intent is to deliver on this program until the end of March 2024. And so you'll see weekly newsletters, announcements from us with ongoing updates about new features and activities. But basically, we're talking about, we're at Gen 29, and all of February and all of March is when we will be rolling out these sessions. For those of you who are wondering, like, how long is this up for grabs? How long might you be able to participate? The sooner you join, the sooner you're able to get access to some of the resources.
Mhm. The other thing is we do want to support you in filling out the worksheets if that's also something that you would like help with. So there is going to be subsequent sessions like this happening every week for the next couple of weeks. So if you download the worksheet and you still have questions on how to fill it out or what some of the questions are asking, feel free to work on that. And if you want to register for this same session that's going to be happening next week, we'd love to workshop it with you. There might be opportunities to actually work on a couple of the questions or highlight your project in those sessions as you're working through some of these worksheets. So that might be an interesting opportunity for some of you that might feel a little bit stuck on what to do with the worksheet. So yeah, feel free to register for next week's session. That is up, Eli.
That's correct. Yeah. Next Wednesday, we'll have our follow up session, and I dropped the link into the chat. I've got another question coming in for Deb, and I'm going to direct this one at Billy. And Deb's really asking, basically saying, we're building out this app. In her case, it's volunteers, disaster response for animals. And she's saying, how could we get help with funding of building up this kind of app? Basically, Billy, can you tie the story of participation in this studio session and how it might prepare people for this next round of funding they might be pursuing?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for the question, Deb. As Joel was explaining about the Studio 2, the impact story session or the story session, the the way we approached designing those sessions was exactly for your case, which is people have projects, they've raised some money, they know maybe they're raising as much money or more money this year, and they might need to make their story even sharper. They might need to introduce their story to different funders than previous years. And so the goal of the Impact Story Studio is to firstly provide a framework with for you to tell the impact story of your technology project. That's step 1. And then step 2 is using TechSoup's channels, figuring out how we can elevate the profile of your project and use case through all of our channels at TechSoup that we have access to. So just to give you an idea of there's about 1,000 people who are part of the Accelerating Makers newsletter, and of them, about 5% of our audience are funders who are actively interested in understanding how DWeb can create value for local communities and civil society. And they're very much interested in being in this discussion about some of the cutting edge nonprofit projects that are out there. And so that's one of the ways we're going to elevate the profile of the featured projects that are involved. There's a second way that we're going to try and be champions, be good champions to you makers like yourself, Deb, and that's by hosting these special events that we're calling event briefings. And those event briefings will be invitations to a diverse number of civil society leaders. That is researchers, nonprofits, folks like yourselves who are building apps, and funders. And so we're going to invite funders into those event briefings. We're going to host demo events with makers of dApps. And as you probably know, it's a delicate dance about how to present your work to a funder in a way that gives the funder the space they need to evaluate projects. And so our job at TechSoup is to create the conditions for those of you who have refined ideas and stories and projects to present to funders and create a pathway to connecting with those funders that's appropriate. In some cases, we will make introductions to funders if that's appropriate. In some cases, we'll invite folks to exclusive events. In some cases, we're going to write stories about your projects to draw attention to those to your work to the funders. And that's just a sampling of what's in play at the moment. We are last comment, we don't want to overpromise what role we're playing in civil society. Our role is to build a bridge between the resources that are available out there to the civil society builders and makers. And so we can do our best to create this connection point around DWeb projects and dApps so that makers are getting more attention and getting more support. But we're not doing a grant challenge. I want to be clear. We're not making awards ourselves. The best case scenario is for us to elevate these projects and have you all come back to us at some point in the spring with stories of how your participation in this event led to new relationships and new funding. But we are not playing the funder role here. We're the capacity building organization that we've been for more than 30 years, and we're going to do our best to appropriately elevate your work to the philanthropic sector, if that makes sense. Any questions or follow-ups there, Deb? Oh, good. Okay,
Awesome.
good deal.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just saw the question in there from Stefan. I'm in the ideating phase of many projects. Do I put them all in one worksheet or do I need to do a worksheet for each one? I'd like to explore several. I think if they're in different domains, if you're looking at different, I guess, what's the outcome of the project, right? If you're looking at two different options for one type of outcome or one kind of mission project that connects the two, there might be potential for putting them together into one worksheet. But if they are in different domains, if they're working on different public good situations or problems, I would recommend putting them in separate worksheets. And if that's the case, feel free to register separately for two different sessions if you have two different projects that you're working on that don't really overlap. If there's a lot of overlap, like I said, there might be a way to mix it together if it's working on the same problem. Yeah, so hope that helps. But feel free to do two if they're two different problems that don't really overlap. Yeah, so we would love to hear if this is something that is interesting to you, feel free to put a thumbs up or a yeah, I'm excited, I'm gonna get started on it in the chat so we can get a little bit of an idea of how this is resonating and what parts of it are working for you. And yeah, we'd love to see you and see your faces in some sessions, see your worksheets come in. Like Billy was talking about, the opportunity here is not just in the working session of working on these use cases and the stories, but how can we as a team also elevate your projects? How can we highlight them in our use case database if you're comfortable with that and tell people, give other people ideas that are similar in that yeah, it's a complex world of DWeb, and these projects are not simple. So we'd love to be able to share your insights with the rest of the community as well, share your projects as best we can. So feel free to download those worksheets, work on them in your own time, register with that button on the website. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out either on Quad if you're in the Quad. If you're not, short, quick pitch for Quad. It's our online platform and we have our own little space in there. TechSoup is using it for a lot of different areas of their community, and we have one specifically for accelerating makers. And that's where we're dropping a lot of the tools and resources and having deeper conversations as well. And you can reach us through that platform and ask questions. So if you do want to get a bit more help, feel free to reach out to us in Quad or join the next session next week. Bring your questions, bring your worksheets. We can work on it together. And yeah, thank you for being here.